Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webcast. My name is Mike Otranto, and I'm a strategic account specialist at Microsoft. I'm also joined on today's webcast with Jim Patterson, who leads in the business development role, and Matt Wiley, our product expert. Today, we're going to focus on project and program capital budgeting. After the webinar, you will receive an email with a copy of the recording and the slide deck so you can review. The line will not be open for questions, but you can type in your questions via the chat feature. So if you want to know more about Microsoft and who we are today, we are a Microsoft joint venture that was founded in 2002. We provide consulting, business process outsourcing, managed services, and global support for staffing. We are a triple gold certified Microsoft partner. Less than 1% of partners ever have that designation. We are certified in project portfolio management, collaboration and content, and cloud productivity. From a project and portfolio management standpoint, we have a deep expertise in Project Online and Project Server. So we have a lot of experience helping organizations maximize their efficiency and technological advantage. We have a footprint all over North America and internationally. I will now hand off the webcast to Jim Patterson. Jim?
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the introduction. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining us for the webcast today. Today's topic is project and program capital budgeting, and we're going to show how that can be done using Microsoft's Portfolio Online, which is a Microsoft-based project and portfolio management solution. Our agenda today, we've already been through the introductions, but we want to talk a little bit about the market needs and challenges that this topic is addressing. We'll also talk about capital budgeting concepts and what exactly that is and how we're defining that. Then we'll go into some concepts about the solution offering itself, Portfolio Online, and the capital budgeting capabilities within. We'll spend the bulk of our time in a demonstration of those capabilities live, and then we'll talk about wrapping up and next steps. So once again, it's the rise of technology that's driving a lot of the changes and needs that are out there. You know, when you think about the speed of technological change and the dynamics it has in a lot of different industries, it's really changing the landscape of how we have to manage and fund and identify and strategically promote different projects and approaches for our businesses. You know, what were formerly brick and mortar businesses and department stores have become the Amazons and others of the world. You know, the waiting in line for blockbuster videos has become streaming services like Netflix and Hulu and other things. The transportation industry has been just, you know, put on its ear with the app-based ride shares like Uber and Lyft. And then even getting soft drinks and things in fast food restaurants and at your McDonald's and such have become software-driven experiences. What this really says is that in organizations, even from the top down, from the highest level executives who build strategies, that we have to figure out ways to take advantage and put our investment dollars into the right approaches so that we can have new business opportunities, new ways of delivering things and generating revenue to and from our customers. And then to do that, we have to execute with projects and programs for those investments. And that's where the PMOs and the execution levels come in to managing all these different investments and initiatives that are going to help drive and ultimately determine whether we succeed with our strategies. Ultimately, we have to develop these things in a technological and other way, and then we have to support those things going throughout. So the entire organization is impacted by this process, but definitely we have to decide where we're going to place our capital investments. And it gets compounded by the different levels of work management that exist today. If we think about this, you know, we have to identify the strategies and where we're going at a higher level as an organization. Senior level executives and steering committees, for example, really put together strategic plans. Try to identify what our enterprise architecture is for technology going to be, our innovation and ideation with those ideas of what we're going to do for new products and offerings that are out there, and just basically performance plans and budgets that have to go in place that fit within the, let's just say, financial and fiscal constraints we have in our businesses. But once we decide the overall direction of where we're going, these things have to manifest themselves in portfolio and program management, where we're looking at different portfolios and programs that help execute and deliver on those strategies so that we can actually move forward with the plan in a tangible way. And these portfolios have initiatives of different types in there. They could be different portfolios, different programs, different projects, et cetera. And the idea they can be of a variety of nature and types of efforts. And ultimately, they're going to boil down to different initiatives/projects that are going to be where these things are executed. And only if those things are executed well, and if we're working on the right things that help further the direction of the business, can we consider ourselves to be successful from the top down and then the bottom up. So kind of a generic process of how that might work at the start of a planning cycle in the upper left of this diagram, you conduct high-level enterprise modeling, and this may be high-level objectives and wish lists or just general directions of where we want to go. And then from a financial perspective, both from a revenue and a cost perspective, we have to define financial and operational targets. But then ultimately, somebody has to figure out, can we do this? Is it feasible? Is it possible? And that's where it drills down sometimes into the execution level, where people have to size this, determine its feasibility, and whether we're able to do this and deliver with the skill sets that we have. And then provide estimates of what it's going to take from a cost and effort perspective if we can do those things. And then ultimately, those things come back up to the top so that we can analyze the consolidated results based upon the inputs from all the subject matter expertise, and then finalize those changes and approve the plan and approve the individual initiatives, portfolios, and programs that may be within that. To do that, the portfolio level pieces are often done in a variety of different tools. And today our premise is going to be that this can be done in Portfolio Online. And Project Online crosses over into some portfolio level capabilities, but really drives that execution level so that we have an integrated synergy between all aspects of this enterprise portfolio management lifecycle. Ultimately, Gartner is saying that you got to have the right tools for the job. So at the portfolio level, the objectives and the needs are different. The people who manage the portfolio at that senior steering committee type of level, and from the PMO on up, are generally interested in creating decision frameworks and selecting projects based on those frameworks, our constraints, our directions, the return on investment, the value and benefits it delivers. And then we want to plan and track those investments at a very high level, not necessarily getting into the weeds of the detail of how we're actually putting those projects together. And then at the execution level, we're really interested in the project and resource management to manage the very tactical details of project execution and communicate progress and expenditures back up to the business sponsors and to senior leadership at a level of detail that's meaningful to them. The Gartner Group has stated that these tools are different audiences, yet there is a need in organizations to have them work together seamlessly. And in our case, Portfolio Online and Project Online are the two tools in the Microsoft offerings that basically allow us to do these things well. So let's talk about what is capital budgeting that's in the title of our webinar today. It's really an overall analysis of potential projects and programs from a financial perspective and investment perspective. You know, where are we going to invest our precious capital? These are generally long range or longer term decisions. They're generally involving very large expenditures. These are typically not small projects. And because they're capital investments towards our future and the direction of our success of where we're taking these products and programs, like we said earlier in that opening slide about the rise of technology, it's very important and critical success factors into the organizational future. We want to make the right bets, right? The challenge is that today, this is often done in systems or disconnected spreadsheets that are disconnected from the project and portfolio management processes and solutions, meaning they're at least at the very best a disjointed or sometimes manual process using emails and spreadsheets and other things, and somehow tying that all back to a financial system in the mix. What we're here to talk about today is how do we make that a more integrated, seamless process for an organization. So if we look at corporate planning solutions, of which there's a lot of them, the areas that we're going to focus on today is integrated capital expenditure or CapEx planning. And what we really mean is extend, and let's get out of the finance and accounting and extend that focus of planning to include capital investments initiatives. What are the things that tangibly we are going to use, and where are the investments in the specific initiatives that we are actually going to finance and fund within our organization? And ultimately, we're going to allow the operational managers to model this capital expenditure to capital projects over a multi-year period. And then we will end up tracking to those. And that's where the integrated project portfolio planning comes. We then also extend that accounting-based or finance-based focus to link these things meaningfully to plans and managing these individual projects, so we can really, on a very integrated basis, track the progress and the health of those investments after we've made the decision to actually make those funds available. And ultimately, like we showed in that hierarchical diagram from strategic all the way down to tactical, we want to integrate this so that we can link the projects and programs from an execution basis up to those higher level strategic plans, so we can see how those things are going. So the capabilities of a capital budgeting type of solution and portfolio management integrated solution, we really want to apply a standard integrated logical approach to developing, estimating, selecting, approving, and monitoring capital investments, ultimately giving us a single source of the truth. Some of the capabilities that we look at that need to be there are portfolio planning and budgeting, request and approval, meaning there's a flow there that has to happen, and the more automated, the better. The actual capital budgeting itself down to the detail level that's required. The CapEx approval, meaning senior leadership giving their blessing that we can go ahead and they will apply the funds to what we've requested. And then ultimately project forecasting on an individual project or initiative basis, so that we can actually track our progress and reporting against that forecasting moving on through. The idea is to have this integrated rather than a disjointed process. And this is where Wickersoft's Portfolio Online comes through. It's really about taking control of your portfolio, including an integrated capital budgeting capability. What we really want to apply is with a Microsoft-based solution in Office 365 and tied with the other tools within that environment, is a high-level, straightforward portfolio planning capability that makes execution predictable, fast and easy to use, and give you the right data-driven decisions from a single source of the truth, so we can transform our portfolios into the right business results that we're looking for. Ultimately, there's demand management in there. It basically assessed all type of demands. So as people request or ideate large programs and projects and even smaller initiatives, ultimately those requests have to come through. Approvals have to happen, hopefully in a more automated fashion, so they're not happening via email or handshakes in the hall, and easily be able to prioritize these things so we can determine what are the things that we want to actually spend the most time in doing more detailed business case analysis and define the business drivers, benefits, costs, and resource demand. Then there's the full portfolio planning and execution. This is where we really want to input the details, including the benefits, estimated costs, required resources, how it aligns with our business drivers and our itemize these things in a way so that we can look at them as entities and decide which ones bring the best return and the best value to our organization, and be able to prioritize those things as we go on through. And as we execute, to be able to track at this level to see if we're actually executing as we planned or as we assumed. And then the capital budgeting piece really is about getting down to that line item detail of capital budget requests and manage the benefits and expenses that we've projected throughout the life of the portfolio items in there. So we want to capture all the capital expenditure requests electronically in a single solution, be able to forecast the spend across all spending types, labor, hardware, software, and other types of expenses, and be able to track the approved portfolio budget against the actuals being spent, so we know if our investment is being executed on wisely and effectively. And then really the payback to this is the advanced portfolio analytics and status reporting. At any given point in time, know the health of your different portfolios or portfolio items, and be able to see from an analysis perspective and be able to drill in where required to see where we stand and the health of these investments as we go on through. So these dashboards are really meant to be a natural output of the process, as opposed to having to compile these and build these and have them become little projects in and of themselves to deliver them to our leadership. And the other key piece is providing a modern user experience. An intuitive user interface with a sleek, modern look, easy to update, be able to get data and updates at your fingertips. Also be able to use these things in a mobile app so that you can actually get the views you're looking for from any device you have, whether you're in the office or not. And for folks that are in Office 365 and the Microsoft technologies, it really provides an intuitive and flexible, more SharePoint-based UI, so that familiarity and the navigation around there becomes just part of your overall business productivity experience with Office 365. And even though Portfolio Online could be used as a standalone portfolio and capital budgeting management type of solution in Office 365, its real value comes by extending it onto Project Online, which is also in that Office 365 environment. So as you link it to the execution details, each project in here could be an initiative in that portfolio management solution, and having the information roll up for portfolio visibility to sync that back. The real power comes to have that true linkage from that high-level executive summary and strategic planning down through the portfolio management that happens at that steering committee and PMO level, down through the execution pieces that are really managed well in Project Online. And it all happens within the same platform and the same user experience at Office 365. For those of you that are Microsoft shops, there's some real value into this. Leverage what you already own, meaning if you're already on Office 365, this just extends the value of what you've already invested in. It also uses what your team already knows, meaning it's an incremental learn. They know how to navigate, they know the technology, so it reduces adoption risk and makes your adoption likelihood more successful. It also increases the value of your current investment in Project Online and Office 365 if you're using those technologies. Also a common IT platform for development and customization, meaning you're already supporting and maintaining this environment, right? Even though it is in the cloud, you want to extend it, you want to customize it, you want to configure it. You'll already have the skill sets in-house already, so you don't have to take on some additional technological expertise in order to maintain some other third-party solution to do these things. And also, if you get a single source of the truth and you get everything you need in this common environment, you may have the opportunity to retire multiple other solutions and spreadsheets that you're using to do this in a less integrated process today. So the idea there's a possible savings that could help justify the procurement of the solution in the first place. And then at the execution level, we talk about integrating this with Project Online and Project, but really the possibility is here and through Wickersoft's Project Connect. The idea here is that we can leverage other planning tools that may be used in your organization at the execution level. It could be Project, it could be Office 365 Planner, it could be Visual Studio Online from a Microsoft perspective, but there's a lot of folks using tools like Jira and version 1 for Agile and other things out there. The idea is that this can be brought into the mix pretty seamlessly and fairly easily with out-of-the-box approaches for people that want to use more Kanban or Agile type of approaches. So hopefully that gave you a good overview of the topic and the concepts and the direction of what the solution is about. So let's take a look at it live. And Matthew, why don't you show us how this works?
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you, Jim. All right, everybody. I'm logged on into Office 365, specifically into Portfolio Online. And what we're looking at a list of here is all of our different portfolios, initiatives, projects, whatever, programs, whatever they might be here listed out. And I can see some of those are in a proposed state. We still have to get them approved, get the budget approved, and so on and so forth. And some of them are active. We're actively managing those and tracking them at a high level or in more detail. And so I'll go into one of my proposed items here right now, my Southeast Asia expansion. And when I go into that, we can dive through and look at all the different pieces of information that we can track. You should note that this is how the solution is out of the box. It is very configurable. So if there's other information that you want to capture or other ways that you want to capture this information, it can be configured and tweaked to meet your needs. What we see a lot of the time is people have spreadsheets that they utilize for this process, either one or multiple spreadsheets as well as Word documents, etc. What we can do is we can get that all into the systems so that we can report on that, automate these approvals, and have one quick, easy place to go to get everything that you need. And so what we're looking at right here within this new request is we can put in some basic information like what type of request is it, what business unit is it for. We can tie these things back to strategic themes, so on and so forth, align these with different sponsors, whatever it might be. I can also fill in my business case information. So I can put in things like what's the value of doing this, what's my business case, and even some light prioritization information, things like how strategically aligned is this to our business, what's the risk, so on and so forth, which is going to help us drive an overall prioritization score. How valuable is this going to be to us based off of our priorities? again, this is configurable. So if you want to score this project, initiative, portfolio, program, whatever it might be, based off of other drivers, then we can just configure that and change that to do so. From there, we start to really get into more of the capital budgeting side of things. So for this particular request, we need to better understand where is the money going to go and how much money is it going to take, and in what year will we need to spend that, and so on and so forth. And so this tab here allows me to do just that. So I can come in, and under my budget tab, I can start to put in my labor budget, the different types of resources I'm going to need, what year those are going to fall into. Is it operational or capital expense? We can put in the amount of hours multiplied by the rate, and then that will give us the cost, which is all going to total up into my labor budget up here for me. I can also put in things like hardware and software costs, as well as any other things, travel costs, whatever it might be. And again, this is configurable. So if you have different cost categories that you want to break this out into, then we can simply configure and update it to match more how you guys track costs and build out your budgets. I can also build in some high-level benefits, so we can better understand the benefits that this initiative is going to bring to us if we go forth with it. And so we can put in estimated benefits here, and we can time phase that out if we choose to do so, and then start to generate things like ROI. So you can see my estimated ROI is 400%, so on and so forth. And later on, once this becomes an active project, we'll actually see how actual costs can roll back in, so we can compare our budgets to our benefits to our actuals, and so on and so forth. So next, into my resource tab, if I want, I can come in here and I can start to build out a high-level resource plan if I choose to do so. Say I need a business analyst to gather requirements maybe, and I might need them, and I'm going to put it in as requested. I might need them, I think, in 2018, starting in January, and I'll just do one FT, and I could spread that all the way across the year. So it's very much like an online Excel spreadsheet type of a format. So it makes it really quick and easy to update the data. And that goes for everything that you see here, is all very spreadsheet feeling. So it makes it quick and easy to get this information in. You don't have to spend a lot of time doing a lot of weird things to get the data in that needs to be in. So from there, once you get all the information in that that your company requires to submit a new request, then we can go and say, okay, I got all my information in, now I'm ready to submit this for approval. So I can simply select my item here and say submit for approval. Out of the box, there's a simple workflow that's going to route this to one person or a group of people, and you can do that in parallel order or one by one by one. And the way that looks, if I switch here, I'm going to switch over. Let's say I'm one of those approvals. I can go into my pending approvals view, and I'll see those approvals come in, as well as I'll be notified saying, hey, through email saying, hey, there's a approval that someone's requesting for you. I can come in if I want. I can look at any of those requests and get more information simply by clicking here, and then the approvals show up here. So I can come into that, for example, that Southeast Asia expansion request that I had in here, and I can go into the approval for that, and I can simply approve it, reject it, or put in any comments and such. And again, this workflow, just like everything else, is configurable. So if you have multiple levels of approval, which is very common, or if requests over a certain amount go to this route and requests under a certain amount of dollars go this route, we can handle those types of things as well. We just have to talk with you through your processes and then set up the workflows to do so. So from there, once that's been approved, that moves it on into the active state here. So you can see here are all of my approved requests. And I'll go into one here, like my social networking integration request, which is now, an active project, initiative, program, whatever it might be, depending on what level you're planning at. And I can come in and notice that now these other tabs are all open. So instead of just my business case and my financials and my resources tab, where I built my resource plan and such, I can also start to go into my roadmap tab, and I could build out just high-level milestones, deliverables, phases, whatever you might want to put in here at a high level and track and report on, you can do that. If you're looking to do full-on schedule management, then that's one area where Project Online comes in. And so if I click, I want to open this up in Project Online, it'll link me right over to the project schedule in Project Online. And then from there, I can go ahead and start building out my more detailed project schedule. So you can see here, I can build that out or start from a template utilizing either the online planner or Microsoft Project Desktop. And then when I come in and save and publish and such, that'll update my project details there. So if you want to do just high-level things, you can. If you want to get more detailed and get full on into more, more execution side of things, you can do that. And we can even connect up to other tools like, say, Visual Studio Team Services for agile execution, more like Scrum types of things, or Jira, or even the Office 365 Planner, etc., if we choose to do so for the more execution side of things. As well as we can track risks, issues, changes, and even then status reports. So at the end of all of this, we can put in things like what's the overall health, schedule health, budget health of these different projects based off of what's going on. And then simply by clicking the Create Status Report, it takes a snapshot of this information and even the narrative that I can put in here, like, what did we recently accomplish, what's planned and upcoming next, and any other comments. It'll snapshot that so that I can then have a history and a date of when that happened and see if this project's doing better, doing worse, so on and so forth, project, initiative, portfolio, whatever it might be. So from there, as this whole process is going on, we can report on these things. So if I click on my reports tab here, it's going to link me into my list of all the different reports, and I won't go into all of them today, but I'll show you some kind of key ones. The first one here is my capital budgeting report. So as those requests are coming in and as we're tracking the finances around that, I can come in and see, okay, here are all of my different portfolio items, the budgets versus the actuals, the variance, ROIs, so on and so forth. And right from here, I can actually come in and I could do, I could drill through if I want more details. So if I just right click on, say, social networking integration, the one that we were looking at earlier, and do my financial analysis drill through, it'll then come in and just show me all of the information specifically for that particular portfolio item. So the labor budgets, the hardware, software, and all of this is feeding directly from that initial form that I filled out. So I don't have to copy and paste and move data around to a lot of different places and do multiple entries and then try to manually generate reports all the time and and such. That all just automatically happens into a set of pre-built reports that we're looking at here. As well as this is actually powered by Power BI, so we can build other reports, we can tweak these reports. These are just a starting place so that you don't have to go and build them all from scratch out of the box. The next tab here shows my different business units, and it's totaling up and aggregating those costs for my business units. Total budgets versus estimated benefit. I can see estimated ROIs, actuals, so on and so forth. And everything here is connected. So for example, if I click on the R&D part of the pie chart, it will filter down the rest of the report just to focus on R&D. So I can just look into that. And then there's a tab more specifically around budgets, looking into each one and understanding the budget information. On my financial details page, I can start to get into more of the details. And what's even really cool is right from the report, let's say I go, oh, I need to make an update to that real quick or go approve that or whatever it might be. We can put links in here, and out of the box there are some. So I can come in and find that same social networking integration project. And if I click on that link icon there, then it'll link me right into that same form that I filled out earlier, so I can make any of my updates, save, and then have that pushed back on into the report. So it's now updated. So it takes me back into that same area there if you choose to do so. So I won't go through all the different tabs here, but you can see there's lots of different reports out of the box. And also there are more like status reports if you're looking for something like that as well. So not just specifically financial based reports, but we can also do high level status reports out of this. So this particular one is showing me all of my different portfolio items, the health of those different items. I can come in and I can filter things down. I just want to look at the IT business units, and now I'm just looking at the IT ones, so on and so forth, and look through all this. And again, from there you can drill in. So if I come in and I go to my same social networking integration and I want to drill through, I can drill through into a more detailed status report that's specifically for that particular portfolio item there that I just selected. So it makes it really easy to get a high-level view, either from a financial or a status or other perspectives through the different reports that we have in our out-of-the-box report pack. But then you can drill in and get more details if you choose to do so. There's even compliance reports built in, so I can see who hasn't updated their status within, say, the last 30 days, so on and so forth, and come in and get better information of that and help make sure that we're keeping our data up to date and really driving usage of the tool and making sure that it's getting used properly as well. Cool. So with that, hopefully you can see how Portfolio Online can help you to track and manage these capital budgeting requests that come in. We can put approval processes in place so that those can easily get approved through an automated system using all of the approval business logic and rules that you might want and routing it automatically to the right people and such. And then once it's approved, you can manage it either at a very high level or you can get into a more detailed level utilizing tools like Project Online to manage your project schedules and other aspects of the project. At the end of the day, that all feeds back together into those reports so we can get visibility into what's going on. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Jim for just a couple more slides, and then we'll let you guys go for the day. So there you go, Jim.
All right, well, thank you, Matthew. That was a great overview. Ultimately, just to summarize things up on the outcomes that we can expect from Portfolio Online and capital budgeting in Office 365 is we provide really good centralized portfolio visibility. We provide the ability to provide advanced reporting analytics around all of the both planning and execution pieces of planning our capital budgets and the portfolios that result from them and the execution of the individual project details. We also get to have managed budget financials that are tied in with the rest of the process. It's not just a financial process now in accounting to do those types of things, but it really goes into strategic planning, integrated with financial planning, integrating with our portfolio planning and optimization, and then portfolio visibility on the execution as we track those investments going on through. An integration that a lot of organizations have not been able to achieve to this point. It just really keeps your teams in the know, regardless of what level of the organization we're in. To have these things be dynamically available and have those reports and views be a real-time snapshot of where we're at any given point in the process is a powerful thing to have. And with the Office 365 on-demand platform, access from anywhere on any type of device, our distributed mobile workforces can stay on top of things very easily. And ultimately, getting portfolio status is no longer a construction project to mash up data from a variety of different data sources and spreadsheets and try to compile those in. Freeing us up to do more high-value things to deliver on those strategies as we go on through. So hopefully you're able to see some of the seeds of that in the high-level overview we gave you today. Ultimately, if you would like to pursue this further, you can try it for yourself. You can come to us at either wickersoft.com or at project-online/portfolio online to request a trial. We're happy to chaperone you through a trial environment and hope you and see that you get the most out of that experience. We're also can talk to you about just a mini assessment at no charge to talk about what it would take to get you from where you're at into the solution. And if this high-level overview demo just whet your appetite, but you have specific use cases you want to talk about, we're happy to schedule a one-on-one more tailored demonstration for you and your organization. So those are things that are all available to you. If you want to reach out to us directly, it's Mike Otranto at motranto@wickersoft.com. You are all going to get a copy of these slides, so you don't need to take all this down, but we'd love to talk to you more about how this can impact your organizations. So with that, I'd just like to thank everybody for their time today and carving this out of your valuable day. And hopefully we can talk with some of you in the not too distant future. Have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Thanks.